Good evening, Ikekwe Precious. Welcome to class. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Well done and congratulations for being the first in class. Aside every other persons, I really appreciate prompt timing and being available for classes on time is always a plus for anybody that does so from your own end. So I appreciate you for keeping to time. So let's give like extra 3 to 4 minutes while others join the call. This is 8:01. About 8:05, we are going to kickstart the class. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right, this is 8:05 and we are up again. Thank you for joining, Francis. Okay, Francis, sorry. We appreciate you joining even though you are late. We are going to kick off our class. We wouldn't be waiting for the next person. So when he comes up, he will join us via the recorded sections, right? This particular call is recorded, but you can only view it over YouTube. And if you want to see the recorded parts of these sections, always go to MDTH YouTube account. Now, what is MDTH? MDTH stands for Making a Difference Tech Hub. This hub is geared towards helping young Nigerians, international Nigerians, on learning digital skills. And those digital skills are what will help them to become so adept and in line with what is happening in this system of things. You notice that data is doing the world, and we don't want to be behind when it comes to trends. I know that sometimes, if not most times, most students who register for data analytics classes in both MDTH and every other class I have known of are testing whether it will be their fit, right? So they are testing to see whether it's going to be their fit. And after 6 weeks, it is what you think it should be. Then you can then go on to the advanced and intermediate classes. So in this intermediate class, we are going to cover a lot of things, which I want us to all become so adept in flowing with the sections. Your parts to cover in these 6 weeks includes introductions to data analytics, data entry, formatting, and organization of data, basic statistical functions and formulas, Excel functions and formulas, advanced Excel part 1, data prepping and visualization, data reporting, and AI. So we are going to cover these 7 parts in these 6 weeks. The classes are scheduled to happen Tuesdays to Thursdays, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. until the 6th week. And the curriculum is structured in a way whereby we will cover all these we need to cover in every of the 6th week. What do we mean? We mean that in the first week, we are meant to finish up everything concerning introduction to data analytics. In the second week, we are meant to finish everything concerning data entry, formatting, and organization, and part of basic statistics functions. Then on the third week, we are meant to cover the remaining part of basic statistics functions and Excel functions and formulas. While in the fourth week, we are to cover advanced Excel part 1. In the fifth week, we have to cover data prepping and visualization. Then in the last week, we have to cover data reporting and AI for data analytics. You see that all of them follow a sequence that helps us to understand what we are doing and to also follow the right paths in data analytics. After Excel, we have MySQL. After MySQL, we have Power BI. After Power BI, we now talk about programming languages for data analytics. That's advanced data analytics, such as Python or R programming, where you see yourself work with Jupyter Notebook, Google Colab, Anaconda, etc., etc. So those are advanced data analytics and visualizations. So we expect that this beginner series of 6 weeks will help you to know whether data is your thing and whether it is what you're spending your kobo to continue learning what you should learn. Over the course of this lesson, you are seeing exactly the readings you must go through. We have assessments in every week, which will be submitted via Google Drive. The assessments will also come in project basis, where you also will submit your work project via the Google Drive. So you are meant to follow these processes in order that at the end of the 6 weeks, you'll be certified as a data analyst and become adept in using Excel for data analysis. The readings are there for you to bookmark or save them in your Google Drive. Now, those readings are specifically organized in a way whereby you understand every concept as it's supposed to be. So at the end of the day, you become a wonderful data analyst. So let us kick up with introduction to data analytics. I always like my class to be very interactive. So I would like to ask Chijoke, Lawrence, and Ikekwe Precious, okay, Francis is back, what they think about data analytics. So let me start with Precious. Precious, before now, what do you know data analytics to be? Kindly unmute and tell us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me well?
Very well. I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
I can hear you loud and clear. Continue. But your background is quite noisy, though. Okay, let's ask another person. Maybe her background is quite noisy. That's why. can't hear me. Francis, you can unmute and tell us what you think data analytics means or what it's all about.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Data, the most interesting is the collection of raw data, rather. Sometimes, most times,
Precious, can you please unmute so that we can hear Francis? Sorry, can you please mute yourself so I can hear Francis? Thank you very much. So Francis, continue.
I said data and analytics is the collection of raw data. Most times, those data are unclean, and data analysis deals with the process of converting those unclean data to adequate information that will help the user make a decision. That is my own explanation.
Okay, that's making data clean for decision making, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Francis, let me ask again. What do you do?
Still a student. Nothing at the moment.
Come again.
I'm still a student, sir. Nothing at the moment.
Okay. A student of which university or polytechnic? Sorry, I'm asking, but I need to know my audience.
Futo.
Okay. A student of Federal
Futo,
University
sir.
of Technology, Owerri. Awesome. Are you studying any computer-related course?
Hello?
I asked whether you are studying any computer-related course.
No, sir. I actually studied statistics. Sir.
Okay, you are studying statistics. Wonderful. That's very nice. So you flow very well with what we are going to discuss in these 6 weeks. I appreciate you, Francis. Well done. Your response is not bad, and it shows
Hello,
you are also... Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear. So I was congratulating you on a well done for your responses on the question that I asked. Well done. Well done. So I'm coming back to Precious now. Precious, is your background better for you to unmute and tell us what you think data analytics is?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now? Is it better
Clearly.
now?
Very well.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Precious Ikekwe. In my own understanding, data analytics is a process of examining raw data, making sense out of it. Understand, like drawing conclusion, uncovering patterns. It combines statistics, computer science, business knowledge. I don't really know much about it. That's why I enrolled for the program, or rather registered for the program. So I'm here to know more about the data analytics, and you know,
But you sound as if you
and
already
broaden
know
my
much
knowledge.
about it.
I don't really know much about it, sir. I don't really know much, though I made a research before registering for it. You understand? So I actually want to know more.
That's fine. Well done. What do you do, if I may
Thank you,
ask?
sir. I recently graduated from chemistry department, Imo State University, Owerri. Yeah. But currently,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Currently, I'm also a hairstylist. Yes, I do that as a side hustle. Yeah. So I just want to acquire
I
a
didn't
tech
get that
skill.
part.
That's why No, I said I'm also a hairstylist. Like I style hair, I
Okay.
braid.
Okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
so I actually want to, acquire a tech skill. That's why I registered for this program because I actually know I'm heading to. Understand that it's not that the
Mm.
hairstyling or the hair business is what I want to fully venture into. So I really need a tech skill to advance my knowledge in the tech area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Precious. I appreciate
You're welcome,
your
sir.
zeal and energy. You have brought energy to this particular call, and it's quite interesting to know that I have an energetic student like you. And for someone who studied chemical engineering, it's
No,
not easy.
chemistry, chemistry,
Okay,
pure
chemistry. Okay,
chemistry.
for someone studies
Yes, sir.
pure chemistry. Oh, awesome. So for someone
Yes,
studies
sir.
pure chemistry in school, I can tell what is involved in studying chemistry. So you are really a strong woman for being a former student of chemistry, and now
Yes, sir.
adding data analytics to it will make you become much more unsackable. That's what's called unsackable, right? Make you
I
much more
believe so.
unsackable in the system.
I, be, I believe so, sir.
All right, well done. So coming to
Thank you.
Chijioke Lawrence. Chijioke Lawrence, good evening. Can you please unmute and tell us what to understand by the word data analytics? And can also chip in what you do, like we all have been saying. Thank you. Chijioke Lawrence, are you there? Chijioke Lawrence, are you far from your device or are you with us? All right, we'll come back to him and we'll know his own thoughts on data analytics. However, we want to take it a bit before the other, and I appreciate that all of us are exposed to what data analytics is. At least we have some basic concepts of what data analytics is all about. And I also approve of the fact that some of us are already in line on our career sets and educational paths. In one word or other, we've analyzed data in our projects and in all the things we've been doing so far. So we want to hone your enthusiasm for this data industry, and that's why I will share the next page of my slide that is on why you should start a career as a data analyst. Why you should start a career as an analyst. One of the reasons I gave here is because it's a very demanded role. It's a very demanded role. So from now to 2031, we will have about 23% of jobs that we need you as a data analyst to be in charge of it and even serve as a data analyst. Now, it is true that there are different development of AI tools which can actually analyze data like humans, but they always miss the key points in solving business problems. So we don't want to relax and feel that there's nothing much with this, we can just do it. No. So we want to make sure that we are the type that always follows the process in analyzing data, and following that process make us look very much different from those AI tools that are being produced. Even those AI tools are being trained with database models. And it is analysts like you and I, we train those AI tools with database models. Even though they will be limited, we as humans have the ability to solve key business problems and harness that data in order to become so much in the job market. And the second is the salary type. So where I work as a data analyst, I wouldn't tell you how much I earn, but I believe that my pay is actually contentable so that I, as a data analyst, will keep leveling up in whatever I am doing in the industry. And the next is job satisfaction. So in general, we are happy with our job as analysts because we solve problems for companies, for businesses, for students, for researchers, for doctors, etc., etc. So this we do helps us to become happy with our job. And that is why 3.9 out of 5 star rating shows that analysts are pretty happy with their jobs according to pay scale data. Now, these are just 3 reasons why you should start a career in data analyst. And remember that I said something one day, a couple of minutes ago, that sometimes we as humans, we like to look whether data is something we can actually do. And a good start is this particular beginner class that we are into in this particular program. But for us to be a data analyst, we need to learn the basic skills. The basic skills or essential skills serves as a foundation for us to becoming a data analyst. Aside learning the basic skills or essential skills, we also need to understand that we need to get qualification that demonstrates that skill. Now, at the end of this course of study, MDTH and her partner should certify you as a data analyst. You shouldn't just end there. You should keep growing in your skill set as a data analyst. At the end of the 6 weeks, we also have another 6 weeks where we teach you how to use Power BI as a data analyst. Out of that, we also have another 6 weeks where we teach you how to use SQL as a data analyst. So all these steps are the roadmap you must follow for you to be a full-fledged data analyst. Imagine you have 3 certificates. One, where that you've concluded data analysis with Excel, with MDTH in 6 weeks. The next one you've concluded data analysis with Power BI with MDTH for 6 weeks. The next one now contains you've concluded data analysis with SQL, database management, with SQL for 6 weeks. You see that you have gained your ground in this, and all these packages we teach in data analysis are the 3 core tools for data analysis. When you know this 3, we are good to go anywhere in the world. Then we now start working to the advanced. That's where you now learn Python or R programming for data analysis. You see yourself working with codes and how to analyze data. That helps to hone your skill and give you a heads up in such industry as data. Now, aside those weeks you're going to learn in the MDTH, you are also going to gain practical skills, because these projects we are dealing with all contains hands-on practices, which will help you to create a portfolio of your work, either at GitHub or with Data Science Portfolio website. All this will help you to be ready in order to apply for entry-level data analyst job or even advanced level data analyst job. Now, one may ask, what are the skills? Yes, somebody will say the skills include just to know Excel, know SQL, know Python, know Power BI, then you are good to go. Well, those are technical tools which are used for data analysis. The skills that are very, very important aside the technical skills are these that I'm going to list to us now. The first is for you to have a creative mindset. Creative mindset. The second is to be very curious about data. Don't say, this is what it is, let me just go with it. No. Always have a curious mindset. When you have a curious mindset, backed up with creativity, it will help you to explore what is to come, to help you to find your niche in data. At the end of knowing all these technical skills and the rest of them, you see yourself choosing a particular path in data. You can call yourself a business analyst at the end of the day. You can call yourself a health analyst at the end of the day. You might still call yourself a financial analyst, a stockbroker, a researcher, or a statistician, depending on the path you chose in this data industry. So these 3 skills are very, very important. The next skill you must earn is for you to be very, very analytical. Very, very analytical. Now, what do you mean by that? It means that you should always have the edge in every problem you are to solve. Now, what's that edge we are talking about? That edge is the ability to solve problem and use your critical thinking sense, ability to solve problems and use your critical thinking sense. When you have this ability, it will help you to think analytically about anything that comes your way. Then, lastly, you must be dedicated to your role and also have the ability to work independently. Dedicated to your role and have ability to work independently. Now, all the skills we talk about here are very, very essential. Like I said initially, you will have the technical skills. Technical skills includes working with the tools for data analysis, understanding fundamental statistics, doing spreadsheets, Excel, understanding how to work on Power BI, and also using SQL for data analysis. Now, those are very nice, right? But your technical skill will not keep you on the job, because obviously a lot of persons can also acquire those technical skills and certification. But what will keep you on the job are your soft skills. Those soft skills are just the few of them I highlighted in this particular part of our lesson. Now, after you have got this essential data analysis skill, you must be certified, because most times our employers want to see evidence of your qualification, right? Now, if a data analyst can actually sit down for 6 weeks and learn data analysis at MDTH, the person obviously can also sit down on a project and work on it for as long as it may last. That is why we always need you to get certified, even if you are done all these technical skills. Certificate goes a long way to show how well you are when it comes to dedication to a course of lesson and character. That is why employers always seek out for certifications. And notice that you might not actually have a degree in statistics here, in data analysis here in Nigeria, because it doesn't happen that way, right? But because universities does not offer data analysis as a course, but they offer it as part of a course in some courses like statistics, some courses like cybersecurity, some courses like software engineering, etc., etc. They offer these data analysis courses in a bit as a course code, maybe for 1 semester or 2 semesters, and they are good to go. So aside that, vocational courses like this help you to get certified as a data analyst. The next step that will help you to become a good data analyst is to always practice what you learn. I've had a scenario whereby my students are always so good at asking questions. Like, they are very good at asking questions. You always see them asking questions, right? So they ask you, sir, what is this, sir, what is that? At the end of the day, if you give them a homework, assessment, or even a project to work on, it will take them days before they actually meet that project. Now, this is not because they were not in class, but this is because they didn't understand the concept of solving that problem, and they are busy asking questions that didn't relate to the problem. At the end of the day, you ask them, do you understand? They will say, yes, they understand. But last, they did not understand anything. So once you have mastered these essential skills we mentioned above, you will need to start developing them by working on varieties of projects. Those projects might be real data sets. Those projects might be demo data sets. Those projects might be secondary data sets. Those will help you to actually hone your skill as data analyst. When you face those projects, help you whenever you are working on your company's project as a data analyst in a company or as a manager in a company, it will be easy for you to go by solving such problems. So it's important to work with projects, practice. The folder you have access to it in the next couple of minutes contains projects you are going to do on Microsoft Excel for this beginner series. Those projects will hone your skill as a data analyst. They will help you to become so good in using Excel for data analysis that you can even stand your ground. Whenever a project comes to you, you can work your way around Excel to solve that problem. Now, sometimes we have issues getting data sets. I do have such issues when I was starting out, but there are some free real-life data sets you can get online on an open source platform such as Data Lab, Kaggle, data.gov, Google Data Search, and GitHub repos. This will help you to get real-life data sets that you can actually work on. And while you're working on these data sets, you would like to create a portfolio for those projects. And those portfolios are what will help you to stand your ground in your data analytics track. Those portfolio will include the work you've done in data cleaning process projects, exploratory data analysis, statistical and machine learning projects, business analysis projects, and even the skills on a soft note you've showcased while you're working on those projects. By this point, you are able to show your stakeholder or your clients that you are very well equipped for such role. And when it is applicable, you will now apply for a position as an entry-level data analyst or a mid-level data analyst. Or good of a thing, you can even serve as a management and evaluation officer. So a lot of my students have that feeling of always wanting to have the title data analyst. Where I work currently, I don't answer data analyst, I answer programs and project manager. Now, what do I do? Same thing I do with data is what I do with projects. There is always an initiation stage, and there's always a closure stage. And there's always reports writing and presentations of outcomes. And I see myself working with numbers while dealing with those projects. So you see, you must not wait for you to have that role title, data analyst, before you say, hey, you are a data analyst. No, you don't need to wait for those to happen. You might have a role as a sales manager, a bank manager, a marketing manager, a monitoring and evaluation manager, which is called MIE, a project manager, or even a health analyst, or a financial stockbroker, etc., etc. The skills you learn in data analysis are those things you also practice in all these roles. So do not be so much fascinated about getting the title data analyst. No, not fascinated about that. Always make sure that you are on track and the role you are taking in each company is also the same as what you will also do as a data analyst. I have a friend of mine in Data Community Africa who was not a data analyst before he got a role as a data analyst. Now, what was he working as? He was working as a manager in a big fashion industry. His work includes procurement, operations, and marketing. So he leads a team of these individuals who help to sell the products, who help to buy materials. So if there's any material that is missing, maybe materials are going down and they to restore, he takes count of that. At the end of the month, he do reconciliation and auditing. If there's need to market a particular design that is trending or they have initiated, he will also harness the team of individuals who will he also carry out a team of individuals who will come together to see that that particular process is achieved. So all these tools is taken in that fashion industry. We are in line with his data analysis skill. So when he saw an offer for data analysis, he didn't wait to say, hey, I have not done data analysis before, so what is the need? But those skills he has there are transferable and can actually be used in the role as data analyst, which obviously is what we do as data analyst in a RF, right? So you don't need to wait until you have that job title, data analyst, before you can hop into it. Most of the times, the job title data analyst doesn't even come the way you think it will come. I have been in a role whereby I am answering data analyst, but the job I'm doing is basically to work with Microsoft Excel and monitor and evaluate. So do not be carried away with the title data analyst. Now, in all these things that are the 5 core steps for us to use in order to achieve our aim in this data industry. Like I said before, we do not want to forget soft skills. They are very, very important. Soft skills. If you miss soft skills, then there's a problem. Always be able to have those soft skills mentioned initially. Creativity, communication, curiosity, analytical thinking, and decision making. But the most important of all of them when it comes to data analysis is communication skill. You must learn how to communicate. You must learn how to tell story with your data. You must learn how to convince your stakeholder or your client what you have done so far. And for you to communicate well, it means that you must have domain knowledge of that particular industry you're working at. So let's say you're working for a edutech industry and you are working on a data set. That data set is meant to help you to see what has happened in all the programs they have been offering so far. You are seeing their master database, you are seeing this, you are seeing that. I'm very happy with what you are seeing. But you are trying to solve a problem for them, maybe the problem of depreciation in application for their program or one of their programs. And at the end of the day, you cannot relate to using the domain knowledge of that business. What is domain knowledge? Domain knowledge is the ability for a data analyst to understand the business industry he or she is working on. Let me use precious industry, for instance, hair stylist or the beauty industry. Now, for someone to work with a beauty industry as a data analyst or a programs manager, M&A officer, that individual must understand how that particular industry operates. How do you take care of your clients? How do you make sure that those clients are always returning? What are the varieties of beauty condiments or beauty facials, or what is it called again? Beauty tools you have, or beauty, and I've forgotten that name. No, like let's say attachments, eyelashes, nails, hairs, contact eyes, and all those stuff, lipstick and chemical. So all those are part of the things that you must understand how they come in place, what they do, and how you can actually use them to solve the problem of the business. You must understand this because that is what makes you irreplaceable as a data analyst. So after understanding all these things, you now create your resume and develop line profiles. Now, how do you develop your line profiles and network with other data professionals? That is what one step you start tonight or even morning. Now, look at how to do. Let me just drop you a tip. This particular class has started today, and you want to get job roles at the end of the day, whether remotely or maybe land an internship that you be paid for being an intern in that job role. Currently, I have my student who I'm teaching in a physical class who is an intern with a Indian-based company, even though he is also learning data analytics. His track now is in Microsoft Power BI, and after that, he hopped to SQL. So how did he get to do this? Because he has been talking about data on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So you don't need to wait until you've gathered all the whole knowledge before you start talking about data. This first class tonight can be your backbone. You can screenshot a particular slide of interest and share your story on LinkedIn or on Facebook and tell people what you have started doing and where you see yourself in the next 6 weeks after the class. That will help you to put you in front of employers, front of recruiters, front of HR managers, so that when they have seen the process you've taken, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, they will see, wow, this guy or this girl is actually growing. So let's give her a hand by maybe interning her and then giving her small tips for how to just use to manage herself while she proves herself in the workspace. Now, that is just one way you can land a job role in data industry. Another way you can land the job is by you volunteering yourself to teach others, right? You might even host a class and use one and talk about data analytics to people. When you do that, you have gained some interest from people who are able to come back for more. You can also meet a particular industry or a businessman who you know will need your help as a data analyst, even though he does not know that you need your help. You can go to him or her and ask him for his or her database. You can use it to analyze it and draw some insights in the database systems. So all these things are the way you can use to land a job opening or a job as a data analyst in any industry of choice. Remember, the job role is not saturated. The only thing saturated is that you're looking for a title data analyst. But if you look for other titles such as programs manager, monetization officer, project manager, sales manager, etc., it will help you to get that role as quick as possible. Now, having said all these things we mentioned, which are the 5 essential steps that each and every one of us must take to become a good data analyst. Let us now come back to that previous question we asked before. Data analytics, like you all said, you are all correct, though, very much correct. But look at the streamlined definition I have given to data analytics. It is a process of collecting information, processing that information, and drawing relevant conclusions to make informed, data-driven decisions. Let me come again. It's a process of collecting information, processing that information, and drawing relevant conclusions to make informed, data-driven decisions. Now, this is related to statistics because data analytics is a component of statistics, and I believe that Francis here can relate very well to this definition. So, why do we say data analytics is a process of using data to gain insight and to make data-driven decisions? We say that because before you can even make insights of a number or a figure, you must go through the process of collecting that information. Data is information. Data is information. Analytics is the process of getting a better and processed information, which will help you to make data-driven decisions. Now, when you now use it to make predictions, use it to deliver a model which can solve problems, you are not talking about machine learning and data science. So for data analytics, we are focused on 3 basic measures. 3 basic measures. The first measure is what factors increases our revenue or profit. Remember, you are focused on any industry of choice in this regard. Any industry of choice. And what do we mean by any industry of choice? We mean industries that are already existing, be it health, be it business, be it research, education, or the oil and gas industry, as the case may be. So while you are working on any of these industries, you tend to see that the process, the workflow, the automation of your work centers on these 3 basic measures. What factor increases our revenue or profit? That's the first one, because every industry wants to make revenue at the highest peak. They want to make profit at the highest peak. No company love losses or costs, even though they must accrue it. no company losses or cost. But as a data analyst, your job role is to find out the factors that increases, emphasis on what increases the revenue or profits. Then the next is what factors incurred much cost and how do we reduce it? Emphasis on cost and reduction, right? So you are a data analyst for XYZ company, and your sales manager have reached out to you telling you that they experience a lot of costs in developing a particular product. You will ask yourself, what might actually lead to such costs in the production? After you found what have led to such costs, you still want to know, okay, ABC led to this cost. How can we reduce it? In the process of thinking through, trying to understand how to reduce or not to reduce, you will see yourself uncovering insights that will help you to solve that problem. So, understanding the factors that can incur costs and how to reduce it is one way that we measure our effectiveness in the data industry. The next is, what ways can we improve or optimize a particular process? So you are an individual who already have an operational process. So operational process might be, for instance, as a student, you notice that you always go to lectures late. Possibly you trek from your house to lecture hall and you are 5 to 10 minutes late to lecture. Lecturer is already in class. I also noticed that in the whole day, you spend up to 5 hours, 6 hours in school because you are a student and maybe how the day has already been. Now, as a data analyst, you start thinking, since I spend up to 5 to 6 hours every day in school, how can I improve the process that I take while going to school? First, I used to go to school 5 minutes late. How can I reduce going to school 5 minutes late? That is now where you start talking about waking up early. If you are type that always eat breakfast before going, you make breakfast on time, or even the night before you go to lecture, etc., etc. If possible, you can make the breakfast in the morning, take it to school and eat it. So when you have understand this process, it helps you to optimize that method you have been using to go to school. Let me now use my own work role as a programs manager where I work. Now, my work role is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sometimes I can stay in the office 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. depending on how the work mode of that day is. And since the role is that nature and the duration of time or work hour is just 9 hours every day. How can I meet up so I will not become late? At first, I thought it's possibly making breakfast in the morning and taking it to work will work very fine for me. But I observed that making breakfast in the morning and going to work that same morning will make me to go late. So what do I need to do? I now have to go back to making the breakfast and the lunch, whatsoever it is, in the night before the day of work. That will help me to go to work on time and even have lunch and breakfast to eat that same day. In that process, I have optimized my operation as to house to work and from work to house. And what does that do to you as a data analyst? Help you to stay focused and organized. So when you are someone who understands a process and always think of how to improve it, you are a business or a data analyst. These 3 measures are very, very collective in nature. They work together to make sure that we come back to the main reason why we are acting as data analysts. And we say it's collection of what? Information. And let us come back to the analogy of the student we used before. The student collected the information. And what's the information? The information is that he's always going late to school or to lectures, 5 minutes late every now and then. And he used to stay up to 5 to 6 hours in school before coming back. Additionally to that, he saw that he always spent 2K or 1K whenever he goes to school. This is information that he has collected. Now, when he starts thinking, how do I reduce this? How do I make this work? How do I optimize this process? How do I improve some certain areas of my expenses or operations in a day-to-day activity? That is him processing that information. Now, after he has think through of all these processes, he now says, okay, I will be making lunch and breakfast at home before going to school, so that I will reduce the time I spend while going to school, and also reduce the time, the money I spend while in school. She also will learn to a conclusion that, okay, instead of me going to school with empty stomach, let me cook in the night before the day of school, so that when I reach to school, I can even eat my breakfast and even have some saved for the lunch. But also say, okay, since I always go 5 minutes late, can I wake up earlier in order to go to lectures on time? Or is it possible for me to take a cab or a bike to my lecture? This is the conclusion he has arrived at. Now, what makes it a decision? The decision now is when he now says, okay, let's start to one first. So the first one he will start to be, from now henceforth, I'm cooking a night before the next day so that I can go to school on time. That is a decision. And that decision is backed up with data-driven decision, because he has collected information from the previous activities or operations he has been going through. He has thought it through by processing information. He has drawn relevant conclusion by saying, oh, this should do. At the last point of it, he has decided to start from one. So if he sees that the first decision he made to start from the first one, that is cooking a night before the day of the school, works out well, you will see that he will continue in that process, and slowly, he will factor in other conclusions that he had made into a decision for him to actually get what he wants at the end of the day. This same process goes by with our day-to-day activities. It goes by with our other activities that are all relational. Because data is everywhere. Information is everywhere. So you cannot say you have not come across information in any day of your life since they born you. You have come across information. That's why they say information is what? Power. Information is power. And they also say that the right application of knowledge is wisdom. So how can those things come in place if you don't actually know how to process those informations you've gotten and use them to make conclusive, relevant decisions? So all these things are what we should look into at data analytics in order to understand what data analytics involves. Now, as a data analyst, you must also involve yourself in understanding critical analytical thinking. What do I mean? When we say analytical thinking, we talk about solving problems in a step-by-step manner. As a chemistry student, as a chemistry graduate, and as a statistics student, you understand that step-by-step solving of problem is important. Some questions you are being given in exam hall or even in a test, or even as a classwork or assignment, always require you to follow a particular step or procedure. Let's say you are meant to solve a question in Fourier series, or in time series, or a question in sampling, or a question in component principle analysis. You must follow a particular step. Or even let's say you're working on a problem on calculus, you must also follow a particular step. Step 1, step 2, step 3, to the final step that concludes your answer. And that is why they say that science is tough, because your teachers, your lecturers, or your professors, they do not mark your final answer. They mark the step you've taken to solve that question, which will lead to either having the full 7.5 result for that particular question or below that. So that process of solving those problems one after the other, step by step manner, is you performing analytical thinking. Remember, it must come after you might have defined and identified the problem. Statistics department and chemistry department are very good at making sure that you are confused in your questions. They will see one particular question that is set forward. Maybe Obi is a boy. They will not ask you Obi is a boy. They will ask you the boy is Obi, right? Now that you twist the question in a way that you yourself will start asking yourself, what kind of question is this? But it requires you to identify that question, define that question, and then start knowing the particular formula or particular step to use while solving that problem. I believe we all can relate with this analytical thinking as previous students and as current students. If you cannot relate, let me know. Okay, so our silence shows that we all can relate with
Hello.
it.
Good evening.
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Mr. Chibike. Yeah, honestly, I'm so impressed tonight. I'm very happy that I joined this class. I really appreciate the fact that I joined this class this evening. All this while, I've been hearing of data analytics. Unknown to me that I've been doing it all this while. You understand? I could remember when I did my project, my final year project in school, when we were assigned to, I could remember after my project was identification of phytochemicals that has the inhibiting power to inhibit a particular protein, which is a carrier organism. So when that topic was given to us, we were like, what are we going to do with this? It's just all about computational drug discovery, where we use in silico predictions to get some particular protein that could inhibit phytochemical that could inhibit a protein. So it involves so many processes, like so many steps, one after the other. We use so many tools, Autodoc. I don't know if you're familiar with Autodoc. And that was where I had the impression that yes, I really want to go deep in this data analysis. What you just said now made me recall all the processes you went through and the critical thinking you made mention of. You understand? So I really appreciate the fact that I joined this. This data analysis, how do I put it, is different based on the factor or the environment you find yourself. If I'm right, yes. Because maybe if you find yourself in a oil palm company, depending on their modus operandi, their mode of operation, and everything they do there. When you also find yourself in a research company, maybe a hospital or a cancer research company, all this stuff, their own method of making research will also be different. So I really appreciate the fact that I joined this class today. I think with time, I will acquire more knowledge about this data analysis. But I can relate in everything you just said. I can relate that yes, I've even without saying that my project research, my project alone. I think I've experienced all the things you said here. I've experienced them today. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful, very wonderful. I so much appreciate the fact that this our discussion is very, very expository, and it has actually brought up some things that you have done before now, but you don't know that you've done it. So it's very nice to have such testimony come from you. Frances, have you gone through this process before? And if yes, how has it been with you? And how has this particular section enlightened you on what data analysis is all about?
Good evening, everyone. I want to kindly apologize. MTN is dealing with this right here. Now, to answer your question, it's been a wonderful start, and I like the fact you touched that like it does not have to deal with the fact that we must focus on the technical skills. I like the fact that you emphasize that we should touch the soft skill, because most people, once they hear data analytics, their main focus is like is drawn to the technical aspect. But I like the fact that you touched the soft skills, and you made us understand that you can it doesn't matter if we just started today, you can share your journey, put yourself out there, so that part really it resonated with me.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all our responses. I really appreciate that. So to quickly round up our class for today, we want to take some infographics. Now, the essence of having these infographics is to help you know whether you're on the right path or not, right? And even though that this particular class is basically on the starting point, the basic statistics and Excel, I mentioned there are other parts to follow, such as understanding SQL, working with Python or R, then building your visualizations and your BI tools. So these are the roadmap that you want to follow in order to become a wonderful data analyst. Roadmap is easy if you follow it through, but it is hard if you don't follow it through. Some persons start learning data analysis using Python. It is not bad though, but you still see yourself fall back to using Excel and SQL and even the BI tools, which is Power BI or Tableau, which are the most popular BI tools so far. Now, a friend of mine who is a data scientist has come back to me in order to teach him Excel for data analysis. Reason, all the job roles he has seen as a data scientist or as any other title it may be, requires him to have knowledge of Excel. Now, not just knowledge of Excel, but an advanced knowledge of Excel. So, even if he writes a CV or a resume and sends to them, his portfolio do not contain any project with Excel. Then he has to come and learn what? Excel. So you see, it is very good that we don't skip the basics. That's why we provided you with all the necessary readings, because we know that these weeks will not cover up what you should know about data analysis. So those will help to hone your skills and make you become more inquisitive to learn other analytic tools which you can use to make data-driven decisions. Now, we have essential toolkits, and if you know these toolkits, you are a full-fledged data analyst, and even call you a data scientist. Now, you are not supposed to know them up to 100% before you can start applying for a job or start telling your stories, like I said before. And again, you're not supposed to know them to the point where you can say, nobody can challenge me, because these tools, you cannot learn them to the finish. When you think you've known Excel, you see yourself seeing new things in Excel. When you think you've known Power BI, you see yourself seeing new things in Power BI, because every day these companies update that softwares. But you must have at least 90% knowledge of using Excel and Power BI as a data analyst, because our work centers on these two tools especially. Then you must have about 50% to 70% knowledge of using SQL, because here you see yourself work with databases. Some companies store their data sets on the cloud server. For you to trap it, you must use SQL. So after you have learned Excel and Power BI, you will now learn SQL, which will help you to work with databases. And in that databases, all you need to learn just 50 to 70% of the knowledge there. How you can use to create your own database online, how you can actually create more columns and tables, how you can also import and export data from that database, and how you can link your database to your SQL, your Power BI server, Power BI desktop for you to do visualization. Then for Python, you don't also need to learn so much. 50%, 70% knowledge of Python is okay for you. So if you have 50% knowledge of Python and have 70 of SQL, then have 90 of Power BI and Excel, you can handle any project that comes your way. Now, with the knowledge you have in these tools, you keep learning until you become good at it. You can never be perfect, but you can be very good or great at using a particular tool in data analytics. To conclude our lesson for today, we are going to discuss just the 4 types of data analytics. If you have discussed the types of statistical analytics, we now add causal analysis and ordinal, which we add to be 6. But for data analysis, we have just 4. The first is what happened, descriptive. And a lot of data analysts today focus on descriptive analysis. Reason is because we see ourselves dealing with historical data sets. Historical data set, that's data set that is already existing. So we just want to find out what happened in that particular information we have. And the analogy to describe this is those laboratories. So I'm going to use the laboratories experience to describe what this 4 types of data analytics means. When you go to a hospital, maybe you're suffering from malaria, typhoid, and you go to the hospital, you say you want to see the doctor. They will direct you to the doctor, and the doctor will ask you what happened, what is the problem. That's the script. You want to know what is happening to you, what happened to you. Certain doctors, symptoms seen that have been there past 3 days or past 5 days, and you do I don't know what to do again. No, let me come and meet you. Now, we tell the doctor what is happening to you. You are using describing features to the doctor, and the doctor is penning down those things that have happened to you and is happening to you. After that, the doctor will now write down some specific tests you will be run on to find out whether it is actually malaria and typhoid or it's just malaria. And if it's just malaria, what's the type of, is it type A, type A plus, type B, type B plus, or just normal malaria plasmodium? When he writes down all those things, he will send you to the laboratory where the technician will take your blood sample or your stool and urine to run some diagnostics. Run diagnostics is understanding why that particular issue happened, right? Now, after he has run that diagnostics for level, okay, come back in the next 2 hours or come back in the next day, so we see what result we get from the laboratory. That is them performing what is called diagnostics analysis. And that is why we see them called laboratory diagnostic center or diagnostic laboratory, as the case may be. After diagnosis, they will send the results to you. You will not take it to the doctor. And doctor will see the results. And he will tell you what will happen if there is negligence in taking medication or if the medication is taken. That time, he's not predicting what is likely going to happen because he has seen the result of the diagnosis and he has seen that from this result, this is the thing that is likely to happen if this young man do not take the medication immediately. Any delay, what will happen is XYZ. Any delay, what will happen is ABC. But if there's no delay, what will happen is DEF. If there's no delay, what will happen is GHI. That's the doctor doing what is called predictive analysis. But mind you, predictive analysis is not always 100% accurate because we know that even a machine can never be 100% accurate. So predictive analytics can never be 100% accurate. It can have deficiencies. We have heard a story or some stories that some individuals, we are told that they cannot give birth to any child because of the way their system is. But at the end of the day, we see them still giving birth to children. Sometimes, some persons, the doctor will tell them, okay, due to this illness or the level of illness, you only have 1 year to live, 6 years to live. At the end of the day, the person will stay more than 1 year, or stay more than 6 years, or even stay below 1 year or below 6 years. So predictive analytics is not always 100% accurate, even though it will tell you at least up to 70 to 80% of what will happen. But at the end of these particular scenarios that have happened, described, the diagnosis have taken place, and prediction have also taken place. The next thing is to start making that to happen. Now, the option is to either start medication immediately or not start immediately. And as Nigerians, some of us will say, okay, let's start with the one we can take now. Possibly, let's start with taking the malaria drug. Then after we now take the typhoid drug. That is the process where the doctor will now prescribe medication for you. He will not tell you to meet the pharmacist to give you this particular medication. Now, you are trying to make sure that that prediction he gave initially on why it is important for you to start medication begins immediately. It starts happening immediately. That is why prescriptive analytics discusses on how we can make it happen. How we can make it happen. Doctor have told you what you will do. Now, doctor will tell you, see how you make it what happen. With these stages you overgo or undergo while dealing with the sickness that is troubling you, you have unconsciously, both you and the doctors or nurses or lab technicians in question undergone data analytics processes. You have utilized descriptive analytics, you've utilized diagnostic, you've also utilized predictive, additionally you've utilized prescriptive. So you see, the more the type of data analytics, the complex it becomes. The most easiest one is descriptive. The most hardest one or toughest one is what? Prescriptive. And predictive and prescriptive is the focus of most data scientists and machine learning engineers. We don't do much in these two, predictive and we don't do much in predictive and prescriptive, but we do a lot of work in descriptive and diagnostics, where we do recommendations and conclusion at the end of the analysis. So you see, it's important that we understand these processes that we take within ourselves as analysts, and it helps us to become very much adept in the use of data tools, data skills, and data processes. So when we meet, we are going to digest the processes of data analytics. We're going to digest the processes of data analytics. You might make time to read the documentation that discusses the processes of data analytics on the topic digesting data analytics process. Here we are going to see the process involved for you and I to become good data analysts. For you and I, very much equipped with data analytics processes and understanding the life cycle of data. Also, it will help us in that discussion to start setting up our spreadsheets for data analytics, which will now usher us into the different types of data we have and how we as analysts utilize it in analysis. So at this point, we're going to end the class for today. And I want to thank you very much for your collaboration in making it happen. It's not something of forceful dedication, but it's something of willing dedication, because we all understand how these things happen, and it helps us to be good students of data analytics. So do we have any other questions or comments on the discussions we have done so far tonight? If you don't have, we can end the call. This is 15 minutes past 9. Remember that the recording will be on YouTube, and you can go and visit it anytime you wish to visit it at MDTH YouTube channel. All right. So
Okay.
this, okay.
Sir?
You want to ask a question or you want to make a comment?
Today's class, it was easy to digest, and I have a lot.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you quite well. Your voice is sounding down below.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now very clearly.
Okay, so I said thank you very much, sir, for the class. The class was awesome, and for questions, I don't have any questions because everything was easy to digest.
All right. So thank you very much. I appreciate. I believe that we also resonate the same start of Precious Liquid. So tomorrow we are going to continue our class on how to be digesting the processes of data analytics. Precious, want to say something?
Yeah, honestly, with I have forgotten your name. Pardon me for that. I really appreciate the fact that I joined this first class, honestly, because if I had missed this part, I don't think I would catch up. You understand? I really appreciate this part. So everything you just said, especially this last part where you made reference to the types of data analytics. Honestly, I still make reference to my research, my project, everything. This is just the exact way we make research. In the This is the exact way we made the whole research on finding the phytochemical that can inhibit that particular process. So I really appreciate it. When you were saying all these things, I was recalling all the processes we took in collecting the data and making a sense out of all these things. Then we were able to finalize it and said yes, this phytochemical can inhibit this virus. Understand? So I just thank you for this teaching. It's so amazing. It's so insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much too for being here. We appreciate your presence as well. See us in class tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m., where we digest the processes of data analytics. Have a wonderful night rest.
Bye.
Okay, yeah.